Everything you see here is strictly informational. Forex is a high-risk business. Please do not place trades with more money than what you don't have. Please do not trade other people's money. Do not borrow any money than what you cannot trade with. And please take everything that I say as a personal opinion. I am not considered a financial advisor. I'm not considered a broker. I am just one here simply recording my journey along learning the markets. Alright, everybody, listen up. This is a stick up. Everybody get face down. If you don't know what I'm referencing, I'm sorry, or you didn't grow up listening to Eazy-E. Because we gangsta up in here, up in this trading world. Especially in the crypto world. You people know what I'm talking about. Don't be acting a fool. Anyways, I'm Ted with Bodies and Wicks. Hold on, I gotta take a drink of my sponsor of the day. Nos. Go home. Energy drinks. I watched a video one time where people did really weird things with energy drinks. They poured them on bread and left, they could be bend the bread a little bit later. That's how bad this stuff is for you, but I'm drinking it anyway because it is 2:30 a.m. on Friday night, Saturday morning, and I have nothing better to do other than go over crypto charts with you. If you don't know what I do, this is what I do. I like to analyze financial charts, whether it be Forex, indices, getting into crypto heavily now. So that's what I'm doing right now, is doing a crypto session to see what we can look at as far as what we can trade over the weekend, since Forex is not available during the week. And if you have Hugosway, you can trade crypto over the weekend, which is what I love about having Hugosway. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have it. But the only bad thing about Hugosway is the spreads for crypto, especially something like Bitcoin. You already had a 20 pip loss as soon as you start the spread, so that kind of sucks. But Bitcoin moves fast and it's a money maker, and if you got the account and you got the money, go for it. But and that being said, I'm just I look at all these different things that I have on on my trading view, right? And there's just so much there's so many things that you can trade. It's ridiculous. I didn't realize how many things or how much crypto you can actually trade on TradingView. And I don't even know what these coins mean, so that's what I've actually been doing for the past couple hours, is actually trying to figure out what these coins are. I know the main ones, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, but there's just so many out there, and I want to take a closer look at some of these, and not only just see what we can look at for the weekend, but see what we can forecast for the future. So this might be a little bit of a long episode, so just to forewarn you guys, and bear with me, and we'll see what we can do. So we might take a look at a chart, we might do a little research on it, so for those of you who are new to crypto, this might be a good thing for you. For those of you who know a lot about crypto, This might be boring, but you know, at least we'll go over some charts. That's probably what I'll do first, and then after the charts, we'll go back and then we'll do some research for those that are new. How about that? Sound like a plan, people? Sounds like a plan to me. But if you do enjoy what I do, if you have seen my videos and you haven't yet done it, there is a subscribe button. You can go ahead and click it. That would be pretty cool. You can, you know, go ahead and hit the alerts thing too. Whatever it is that you have to do to, you know, let you know that there's some more videos that I put out there for you. You know, go ahead and do all that kind of stuff. So that way, you know, I hope that I can bring something to the table, you know, that maybe you didn't catch, or maybe, you know, somebody else that is saying, you know, maybe I'm seeing something a little bit different. Or maybe I can teach you something a little bit different than what somebody else out there is saying. Maybe I can give you a different perspective. Maybe I can just help in any kind of way, whatever it is. There's always had to get multiple viewpoints. I know I especially have multiple viewpoints whenever it comes to, you know, researching different things, and you know, looking at you know, different people that I look up to whenever I trade. And you know, different people's videos that I watch and things like that. So hopefully that can be an extra one that you can add to your arsenal. I'm gonna try to make these videos shorter, because I know my videos have been like super long lately. But I'm trying to make them so that, you know, it would be like a one-stop shop. You only have to watch my video. But I know that's not fair to most of the other people out there that my microphone just become unplugged again. But I know that's unfair to other people that you do want to watch and see their content. But this one might be a long one, so just FYI. But hopefully after this I can start breaking it up and getting better at getting shorter videos. So first, let's just go ahead and jump into charts, and let's see what we can invest in or we can trade over the weekend. And let's see what kind of money that we can possibly make over the weekend. All right, so first up is, of course, the main one everybody loves to know about is Bitcoin. So I've got a 4-hour chart drawn up here. I've got quite a few you know, trend lines drawn. I don't know if you'd call these trend lines. These are just some lines I guess I've drawn. I don't even know what this line is here. That I think this is like an old, you know, yeah, there we go. This is a trend line from like back in the day. And so, you know, I have that also coming from like the overhead trend line. So it looks like right now Bitcoin, you know, and like where it says X marks the spot, Bitcoin is just below that X marks the spot. Which is around 10, you know, 11,600. That is the X marks the spot. So, and as you can see, the trend line coming down. You know, well, I guess I don't even think it was a trend line until it hit right here. Well, there was a different trend, I want to say. So let's go look at like you know, like a daily chart of what we got going on here. So if we look at the daily, and we go back to, well, I forgot, this thing extends on forever. So I did start it from, you know, when we had this huge uptick back in like 2018, right? So I started it from here, and I didn't connect it. Well, I guess I did connect to this one. So I did connect it to this one. You know, we've already ran through that. And it looks like that was like right around the time that, especially when we were struggling to get across that 10,000, you know, that resistance area of 10,000. And that probably could have been a huge portion of it. Was definitely had to do with this trend line here. I'm not a huge believer in trend lines. But sometimes they do have some truth to them. So you know, so this is, you know, definitely a multi-year trend line that came through. But this trend line from down below, also came in, right, and it looks like it helped it out to push it up and above, the downward trend that had been coming through, and where we saw, because I know whenever, especially when this was when I started learning how to trade, it was like, right around May. Crypto is getting to 10,000, and it kept hobbling back and forth, and we didn't know what it was going to do. A lot of people thought it was going to be a reversal, it was going to go down. I especially did, because I had learned about head and shoulders, and I saw this as an upside down head and shoulders. So I thought once we got down to about like 7,000 or so, I was gonna like put a shit ton of money a crap ton of money in Bitcoin. Like, I could just watch it skyrocket, but it never got down to that point. It just kind of actually funneled itself into a corner, or I guess you could say a flag, a wedge. I guess you could say this is definitely a wedge, and then finally broke out of the wedge. Right, so now it has made a new trend line, and that has been recently, and that since August, it made a new trend line, and now it has broken back down below this old school trend line, from the very beginning, that hit the very bottom, to also to here. Well, maybe it didn't. I don't even know where this goes to, if it does even go. Yeah, okay, so that was the only 2 points of this trend line. So I don't even know if you can call it a trend line, because there's not a third point to connect it to. So but it is down below that area again, between this new trend line. So I guess you could really consider this no man's land if you want to, or you can say, hey, this is some kind of this does have three points of interest. So because you do have it touching this and this, as well as it also touching the very, 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 very top one from back. Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't even touch it, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. It just touches those 2 points. So this is just a trend line here. Because if let's just draw a trend line from back in the day to where the most recent swing high. Let's do that. And sometimes this heavy magnet kills me sometimes. There we go. So if we were to do that, we're on a slight down slope, I guess you could say. But with all of these little trend lines drawn, what does that mean for Bitcoin right now? Well, I would say definitely, as you can see, we just from the general direction, we are in an uptrend, even though we did have the huge, a huge push up whenever we did finally, cross the 10,000 mark. Once we finally crossed that 10,000 mark, it seemed like it was just going to keep going. We were going to come back, and then, it almost, got to 13,000 pretty much, I think, almost. Yeah, 1250 it looks like. Didn't get to 13. Fell back down, dropped up to 12, and then, fell back down again. Back to the 10, and once it got back down below the 10, I know we were all disappointed, but then again, it was also a relief, because that was like, okay, that's basically support level now. So now that we know that support level, we have that established, we can kind of look to see where we're going from here. So since we have hit support, we can zoom in on this guy and see that we have been, on an uptrend, but within the last, since this, couple days, almost within the last week, it seems like we've been backtracking, and you know, we've kind of been going up and down with Bitcoin. So if we take a look at the 4 hour, I know it just recently sold off quite a bit, so I've been watching it. So after it makes its drop, you know, down to 10,000, you know, it kind of, you know, makes its way back up. And now we're seeing, it looks like almost like a steady channel going up this way. So that does seem almost like that's a pretty good channel. So I guess, you know, starting from here going this way. So if we just draw the parallel channel, let's just go from here to here and make it there. Oh, there. I would say that is actually a pretty decent channel that you know, Bitcoin has put itself in, and it seems like it's probably not going to be moving out of that. So, and with that being said, I've also been using a new indicator on TradingView, and if you can find this, I found it once. I couldn't find it again for some reason. I had to copy and paste it actually from one chart layout to another because I couldn't find it. It's called Cryptomoku. So it's an Ichimoku for crypto, right? It's actually really cool. It basically has two different types of clouds as well. So it'll have, you know, if you don't know how to read it in Ichimoku cloud or Ichimoku indicator, I'd advise looking up how to do that. Because like I said, this one is pretty cool. It has like I said, it has two different types of clouds. You know, one shows like a, you know, the heavy resistance. The other one kind of shows like your basic signal. So it kind of gives you, and you know, as you can see, especially with the trend indicator, or at least the, yeah, I really don't know how far. Let me see how far out this goes. I want to say, especially with a 4 hour, it's about a couple days. Let me just use the date and price range things. So right now, about almost 5 days. 4 days, 20 hours, 5 days. Yeah, let's just say 5 days. Gives you about a good 5 days out if you're using a 4 hour chart. Right now, it'd definitely not be a good time to trade crypto if you're especially like looking for something long term. And because it is right on that you know, heavy resistance level. And that is, it's a heavy resistance level that it's on right now. It's actually just a little bit above it, probably somewhere around 11,000. Is the heavy resistance level. For some reason it cannot get above that, and when it does, it just shoots right back down. So we are stuck in between 10,000 and 11,000 right now for sure on Bitcoin. Let's take Cryptomoku off for a second, and let's get in a little bit deeper. Here, let's just get into the 1 hour. So as you can see, what I would do is I would pay attention to this channel to see if it's going to stay inside this channel or if it's not. If it falls outside the channel, I would expect a retest, you know, from underneath it, and then continue falling. Especially looking at some other things that you know, with Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is definitely one of the coins of the future, you know, but I don't see it hitting, you know, that becoming like one of those things that's going to be 17,000, you know, by the end of the year. It's going to have slow growth. It's going to continue to grow, but I don't think it's going to be one of those ones going to have huge growth. And one of those reasons is because of this right here, this yearn. This is definitely the new coin that everybody's investing in. As you can see, it is already almost triple the amount of Bitcoin. This seems like what people are putting their money in, that what they're going to retire on. Bitcoin is kind of like a trading thing. I think a yearn is more of like hey, put your money in here, this is going to be safe, you can retire on it in 20 years, type thing. So also, if you go to btc.d, look at the dominance. If you just look at from like this period here, right, or this period here from like mid-September. That was just. Actually, I want to look at a different period. That was not what I wanted to look at. It was more like toward the end of August. It was this right here. If you look at like August 17th toward the beginning of September, right, you see this huge dip. But if you look at yearn and you look at that same period, end of August to the beginning of September, you see yearn take off. It looks like people took out all of their money from Bitcoin and then threw it into yearn. So if you think Bitcoin is going to be a long-term stable coin, I think it will be. But I don't think it's going to have the growth rate that some people think that it is going to have. So, but if you're trading it this weekend, that's going to be a completely different thing. I am a scalper, so what I like to do is I like to get on the 5-minute chart, right? I like to get on the 5-minute chart and see what we're looking at as far as support and resistance is concerned. Again, I know that 11,000 is the pretty much the resistance level here. So if I were to go to 11,000 and draw me a little resistance line going across, that just went to there we go, 11,000. Anytime I got near 11,000, more than likely I would probably sell. But it is seeming to kind of corner itself in between this resistance and this channel. So I don't think I'll be trading Bitcoin anytime this weekend. Just because, maybe just because what is today? Today is today's the 19th, so I guess it'd be the 21st. It'd be Sunday, or no, wait, yeah, today's 19th. Sunday would be the 20th. So let me see how far this gets into before I can. Why does the date fall off? That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I don't know why the date falls off here, but maybe because Bitcoin stopped selling then? I have no idea. That absolutely makes no sense. But it looks like by 10 o'clock on the 20th, which would be late Sunday night, is when this would be cornering itself. So I don't think I'll be trading Bitcoin this weekend. Unless there is some kind of crazy good activity happens and I can see that it's just, or unless it does cross, finally get above the resistance line and it has a retest, and after the retest it has a positive reaction. Other than that, maybe I might put some Cryptomoku on it and see where it's going to lead. As you can see, it was supposed to be heading northward. There was no sell signal whatsoever, and then it just sold and it went below the base. So it went below this would be a heavy resistance point. Definitely went below that. So Bitcoin acting a little strangely, even for Cryptomoku to, because every other call that Cryptomoku had has been, fairly good. It gets up here. You can it kind of gets a little wishy-washy, but you can kind of see the sell calls in here and the buy calls, and once it gets down here, you can definitely see a little bit further out that it's trying to give you a buy signal. So it does buy, and then definitely up here you can see if it's 5 days out. You can definitely see it gives you a sell signal. So sold. You can down here you can see, or I guess I should say 5 days out. Considering this is minutes, I want to see how many minutes or how far off this actually gives you a signal for. And it looks like it's about 3 hours. So if you're going by the 5-minute chart, it looks like it gives you a signal that's probably going to last about 3 hours. So you have just a little bit of time to hope that your signal is right. Right. So I would play support and resistance on Bitcoin. But then again, I would also play the channel as well, because as you could see, even on the channel line, you have about 4 good points that it has hit ever since it kind of did this little breakout from down here, right? So after it did the little breakout, it kind of seems like it has formed a channel and stayed in that channel. So that is Bitcoin. We will move on let's go to Ethereum, because I know Ethereum is the next favorite one. I'm actually going to move this up here, and let's go to see what's happening with the whole history of Ethereum. Let me take Cryptomoku off here. So Ethereum reached one of its highest highs, I believe, since back in the day, whenever we saw those huge amounts of highs, and it did. So that was just recently. That was actually, I think it was this week. It just happened the other day. Or no, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, I guess you could say. But it did hit another really high. I want to say the other day. This is going by week, and I feel like, yeah, maybe that was 2 weeks ago. That does seem about right, when it did hit that really high. But Ethereum trading at 373 right now that seems about right. That seems about where it seems to be stuck at. But let's get in here on the 4-hour and see what's going on with Ethereum. Let me just see if my drawings are still in here. They should be, hopefully. Maybe they are not. Oh, you know why? Because they are not on here. They are in here. So they are on a completely different chart that I have. So I will go to this chart instead. Let's go to Ethereum, and we're going to go to the 1 hour. So if you've been following along with me, and I've been analyzing Ethereum, you know that I do like to do smart money plays, to where I find where the institutions like to take control of the financial game. But the good thing about crypto is that there's no hiding it. I guess you could say there's no. There's no man behind a curtain, when it comes to, because you can't really cook the books. Yeah, I guess as one could say. Like if, the Federal Reserve or, JP Morgan Chase could totally be lying about their numbers, and that's what could be causing their charts to be going up and down. That's the best thing about blockchain technology, is that it is completely transparent. What you see is what you get. That being said, there are institutions such as banks or people that do have high capital that will trade in these spaces, and since they do have high capital, they know where liquidity is, and they do know where the smaller traders play, and they know how to take their money. So that being said, you have to find the traces of these players, and you have to trade based off of their reactions. And if you have smaller account sizes, things like that, you know, don't try to play this as if you're gonna make $1 million in a trade, because you're not. You don't have that account size. Get in there, make your money, and get out before they take your money, because they can turn it around on you and do it all over again, right? Excuse me. So, that being said, I think last weekend I had this all drawn up to where you go through these periods of accumulation, especially after it had this huge drop, and I even made a video a couple of weeks ago saying whenever it got to this high, it got to that high that I was talking about, was saying Ethereum was due for a pullback. I said it wouldn't, and if it did, it wouldn't get below 420. I was close, or 320. I mean, I was close. It got down to 309, but I think the closes, especially all the 4-hour closes, were definitely above 320. It looks like the 1-hour closes were all right at about 320 as well. So I was basically pretty much right on target. Somehow I just know these things. I don't know how, but I'm that good. But no, so at that point I was drawing out these things. So drawing out these accumulation periods, and showing that wherever these accumulation periods are, whatever you have, these tops here, and you have these cells, this is where liquidity forms, right? So people expected to come up to this area again and sell, just because they think that's what it's going to do. They think this is the high, and this is where those people that have the institutions, they have that money, they know this, and when it's at that high, what they will do is they will just go ahead and then push in a huge trade, because they know that they'll be able to fight. I would say fight all of it, but there is going to be a lot of sell orders, and when there's a buyer, there has to be a seller, right? So there's going to be people selling through here because they think it's going to go down the opposite way, but the buyers are going to outweigh the sellers because they have more money, and they're just going to push the price up, and they're going to win. And so that money then transfers from them to you, and then it happens all over again. Now, what happened here, what I found was interesting, is that you had this kind of double bottom, and then you had it go through this double bottom, right? So not only did it take out liquidity that was below here, so you have liquidity here, right, and where people thought that it was going to buy, did it take out that, but it also mitigated, right? So there was this sell candle, sitting down here, right? This is it here. Actually, I don't know how that moved, but you have the sell candle, right? And so they're basically, the banks were holding on to this sell, because what they'll do is they'll sell, right, and they'll sell to buy. So whenever they sell here, it'll push down a good ways, usually about halfway, and then that convinces people to sell even more. And then once it gets to a certain point, and it's usually like right on the change of an hour, the change over to a 4-hour, then they'll buy, and then that's how they know where their marker is. so they can see it. You know, though, because you can't just put, you know, well, we were at $356 whenever we sold, because that could have been anywhere, right? And the, you know, but if they have a, you know, a good place on the chart where they can read it, everybody can go, okay, well, that was our candle, that was our sell candle right there. So how do we get back down to it? So, and it looks like this was it here. They sold here to get down to there. And so whenever they sell to get to this point, they release that sell position that they were holding because they were in drawdown this, you know, this entire time. They're up here, but they have the money to hold that drawdown. So that's the thing. That's the key, right? They have the money to hold that drawdown. People like me and you don't. You know, we can barely hold drawdown to probably the wick, you know. Depending on how we're playing it anyway. So this continues to happen, right? Does it again, comes up, right? Makes liquidity, and then I guess it makes a little bit more liquidity here. So now you have an area, basically. You know, I'm gonna draw another box actually, from here to here. To where you probably have a lot of people that are thinking it's going to start selling once it gets to this point. Well, once it gets to this point, what do? Boom, they buy straight through it because they they know that there's a lot of sell positions in here. And then once it gets higher, people are going, oh crap, it's got to sell sometime soon. Sell, and then no, they just keep buying through it. And then they get taken out, right? So all of their money gets transferred from them to the institutions, and then rinse and repeat, right? Except for this time, and what I put here was distribution, because it was distributing that money from them from you to them. So here's liquidity up here, I guess you could say, a little bit of liquidity up top. And this one was kind of interesting to me because it didn't make a high first. What it did was it created these lows along the bottom, right? So when it created these lows along the bottom, anytime it kind of almost, it was like a psych out, right? So what am I moving these things around for? It was almost like a psych out. It was like, okay, so now everybody thinks it's going to get up to the top and then it's going to buy. And then, so, you know, it hit these lows along the bottom. Everybody was thinking, okay, we can buy from the bottom. We can buy from the bottom. And a lot of people were probably buying from the bottom. And then once it got to the top, people were like, aha, we're here. And then they probably tried to buy again, thinking that it was going to do another one of these. And then instead, boom, it goes backwards, and then it just completely drops and takes everybody out that had been buying and playing this game. And the institutions probably just, you know, took their money from right here, and then sold, and then went the opposite direction. So this is what happens. This is what the institutions do. And you know, and I think this was Saturday morning whenever I caught it, whenever it hit the bottom. And I caught it when it hit the bottom, scalped it here, it fell, caught it again, and I continued, you know, riding this wave. Because I felt like that's where the institutions were at. They finally hit the bottom, and they knew they were there at the bottom. And one of those ways that you could tell was these two candles, what's called tweezer bottoms. That's another way you can kind of tell institutions are in play, right? They'll sell, and they'll try to get people to sell. And then once the switch, you know, once the hour gets over, they'll sell, or they'll convince people to sell, but they'll also buy, right? So it takes them the opposite way. So it's kind of like two different candles that look the exact same, that have the exact same length of a wick, Tweezer bottoms are usually another indicator that institutions are at play. There really wasn't a lot of accumulation periods happening in this. This just seemed to be like, we're going to convince people to buy, and then we're going to sell and take them out. Convince people to buy, sell, take them out. Convince people to buy, sell, take them out. It just seemed like that was a lot of what happened throughout here. A little bit of an accumulation zone through here, not much. But yeah, here is definitely an FU candle or an FU situation. So that would be right through here, right? Just because you have, you know, these candles here kind of represent a top and a bottom. So, you know, it comes up here, you know, people are selling, it goes down here, people are buying, and then all of a sudden they sell, they take people out, they buy, they take people out, but it kind of comes up to the same exact point, but then they sell, and whoever was actually trying to buy, thinking it was going to go higher, they just stop them dead in their tracks and go the other way, and then they take all those people out. Here's another zone, right? Buy, sell, and then boom, take them out. And then now we're back at the same low point. Here, let me get rid of. I want to get rid of this thing altogether. We don't need the RSI. And then same happens. What I find interesting is when you see one of these, right? Because there's no explanation for it. There's no kind of ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think this may have been, this was the day of the Fed, actually, I think. Whenever, yeah, that night of like all, you know, the dollar like actually went through the roof and everything like that. Same thing happened here. Whenever gold fell really, really hard. There was a lot of money being moved around at that point, and that's when Ethereum had its good breakout moment too. So, so then here you have another kind of accumulation period, and again, I have this. It's this new resistance marked, right? I've had it marked since this box came here, and I found it in a 5-minute candle, right? So if we go back and we go back to this box, there it is. That's when, you know, it jumps up, it takes everybody out. Yep, okay. Yep, so wait, no, because I have that new resistance marked way before that, don't I? Yeah, it was in here. There we go. That was the box I just made. So as I was watching this in the 5-minute, this candle struggled. It struggled a lot. It actually struggled really, really hard. Because I was watching this as it happened. So whenever this candle came up and it formed and it got pushed back down, and then this one, there was a lot of price action going up and down here. Actually, if there is volume, it doesn't look like a lot, but it did feel like a lot. I felt like there was a volume happening, you know, in that candle right there. Right, well, definitely these two candles for sure. But yeah, there was just a lot of price action that was happening, and it could not, you know, it just seemed like it could not break this price point. So from that point, as you can see, that's exactly where I have it started. That's where I drew that new resistance line. And I left it there, and I'm glad I left it there, because if you go back to the hour and you know, we start tracing things, it comes up to this point, so then I found that new resistance in here. Whenever things were buying, it would get up to this resistance point, and then it would struggle, and then it fell down, and then it happened again, new resistance point, it struggled, so this is actually interesting level that is still in play. So but again, another accumulation box here, same thing. People probably think they don't know if it's going to buy or sell, but it just decides to buy, it gets to the top, and then sells off. And so now it looks like we are in kind of another accumulation phase. So jumped out of one for a second. I'm trying to figure out what would be probably the best course of action for this one. It looks like now that it's fallen below, again, this resistance level, it looks like this is the box. So it looks like we can start the box here, draw it over, and it looks like this is what we have going on. And I'm gonna even put it to yeah, here, because it looks like these two kind of levels are kind of similar. So here we go, we have another accumulation period. So I would say watch out to see what's going to happen with this accumulation period now that we're in it. I don't think there are any mitigation candles. If there are, it would be probably right here. That would probably be the last buy moment before that is a good institutional candle there. So it looks like it was buying to sell, and it looks like it may have put a little buy order in right there just to get it high enough here to where it could start selling again. So if that's the case, it's probably going to sell off more so they can make more money. I don't think it's going to reach that kind of high and only stop right around here and then go back up. But it could, to get rid of the mitigation. But it looks like it already did, so never mind. That's what this candle here is for. So this is the mitigation candle, actually. So never mind, it already happened. See how it came up in the high, actually equaled out to that indecision candle or doji. That would be the mitigation candle. So that candle has already been mitigated, and it looks like this candle has already been mitigated. So yeah, never mind. It looks like it could keep going all the way back down to the bottom. But I think it's gonna do a lot of accumulating in this box, creating orders. It'll probably come back up to the high, probably one more time, and then probably drop again. I don't think it's going to drop as heavily as what it has. I think looking back at the past, even though this was the two bottoms that we have, seeing order blocks in things like here and here, I think this is going to be our new bottom right around 363, right? So but let's see what Cryptomoku has to say on a 1 hour time frame. Looks like there is no sell signal whatsoever, but we are coming close to a look at that. I drew that box as the resistance level. Looks like Cryptomoku thinks the same thing. So let's see here. Does think that it is going to stay above. And it possibly could. I'm going to draw this out to the end of the Cryptomoku box for the 1 hour. Let's actually check the 4 hour. Let's see what Cryptomoku has to say. Yeah, heavy resistance above. Right. Cryptomoku says do not trade in the clouds. So will not be, well, I'm definitely not looking long term Ethereum, so I wouldn't be trading that 4-hour anyway. Let's see here, we already checked the 1 hour, we should be above it. We are not, which could be a sign that it could be coming down to hit resistance, right? Even though it is buying, or it is buying within the hour. If we get down to the 15-minute, let's see what we have. It looks like as soon as we got up to resistance, it gave, well, it was probably around here, it gave us a sell signal, which is interesting. So it gives us, it buys before it gives us a sell signal. So I'm sure whoever caught that understood that once it got to the resistance, and that's why it probably sold off. Especially people that are using this, it seems like it's a pretty popular indicator on TradingView. So that being said, it doesn't look like we don't have any buy signals just yet. I think 485, I believe, is the yeah, there it is. Yeah, 485. Yeah, that is the primary resistance level. So if we can't get above that, usually the bears take over, and that seems to have been the case. That's what I've been saying for like the last week. If we can stay above 185, we can continue buying. Yeah, up until that point, you know, if we get up to 185, we don't see anything promising that's going to cross it. So at that point, I do not think I will be trading Ethereum, as I don't see anything promising happening with it, except for it just accumulating more and more orders within this box. Next, Ripple. Let's go ahead and go over Ripple. Ripple seems to be an interesting coin. Let me get rid of Cryptomoku, just because it can't figure out what it wants to do, right? I did buy here on Ripple, and I got out here. Well, it took me a minute to find the bottom because I bought here first, and then I got taken out, and then after I got taken out, I did buy. But I did get out right here. I do know that because it was the closest that it was going to get to. I think it was 25, whatever it was that was closest to 2,500. I think it was here, just because I know. Yeah, I think it was here. Just because 25, I know, is the point of no return. That it's kind of like the 385 or whatever it is for Ethereum is 0.25 for Ripple. If that is the resistance level, and if we can't get above it, or once we do get above it, usually we can stay above it for a little bit, but if we can't, we stay below it. So there it is. There's 2,500. I know once we got as close as we could, and I saw that we were struggling, I know I got rid of it and got out of that trade. And it was a good thing that I did, because it looks like we came pretty far below here. And I don't even think, well, it looks like this could have been some kind of 4-hour mitigation candle down here. I thought this was a 4-hour mitigation candle, but it looks like this could have had some kind of mitigation happening in it as well. So Ripple doesn't really do the same thing as Ethereum does, as far as, you know, I mean, it does. It creates liquidity and then it jumps out of it. So it'll just stay in an area for, I'm in a 15-minute. Let me go to an hour. Even then, in the hour, you can see within an hour it'll create a lot of liquidity, and then it'll jump out of the liquidity area. So it creates those similar type of boxes that Ethereum does, but it does them in smaller ones, right? So like this. Well, I guess you could kind of say this. So it does this, and then it kind of jumps out of the box, but then it comes back in the box, and then it jumps out of the box, right? So I guess if you were to draw a box like you would for Ethereum, it would be something like this, right? It doesn't really have, you know, a bottom and a top. It does, but it just kind of creates just a lot of orders, and then it'll take off and take off up out of those orders, right? So again, comes down to 2,500. As you can see, it looks like it tried to definitely stay above it, right? And then it wouldn't allow it, so it came down below the 25, and then again acted as resistance. And then we kept playing a game where we wanted to try to stay, you know, above it. We were fighting this resistance for a while. You know, if you're near the 25, I wouldn't even be in the trades right through here. You know, I would wait until something like this happened. So I'm sure you guys are like staring and squinting at my screen right now. Jeez, I'm really bad at this sometimes. So this 25 right here, right? So as you can see, once it finally got above it, it came down, it tested it. That is probably about the only time I would actually place a trade, and I would just scalp it, right? Just because, again, it looks like it did get a fairly decent price range here, so about 55 pips, right? So if you would have traded that, you know, with spread and everything, and with you getting in and out, you probably could have got a good, decent, you know, 35, 45, 50 pips, something like that. But yeah, that would have been about the only time I would have placed a trade. Once it got above that 50, as you can see, it, or 2,500, retested it, didn't get below it, boom, place the trade, get out of there as soon as it, you know, gets to its highest level. Aim for 30, 40, 50 pip, something like that. And then after that, you can see it just kind of created another box, right? Around this 2,500 level. Boom, came down, looks like it got near. Tried to push away from it as support. Came back, and came up, and then boom, just went straight through. Tried to come up again, it rejected, stayed below it, and again, now we're fighting with the box again. So again, staying away from it, and then looks like here. The funny thing is, I actually caught this this huge thing, and I think I explained about it in a video. Had something to do with a daily candle looking like what they call a dragonfly pattern, and at the time, this right here, somewhere around here, was 2.060 or something like that, or 2.406 or something like that. Was the call point. I forgot exactly what it was, but that was the call point to get in, and sure enough, once we got in that 1 hour candle, it just took off. Actually, it may not have been this one, because it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was this candle. Never mind, I caught this candle. Yeah, 2506. That's what it was. I knew it was something like that. So it was this candle that I caught. Never mind, guys. So I actually did catch this trade. After I sit here and I talk about it, I forgot that I actually did catch that one. Yeah, it was a fairly good trade. I will say that. I did catch it right. I want to say it was a little bit above actually when I got in. It was probably somewhere around here plus spread, so it was probably somewhere around here. And I did catch it, you know, for a good 30-40 pips, I want to say. So here, yep, that seems about right. It's about what I did get. All right. Anyway, moving on. Now we are in another box. It looks like we have just in the last hour retested again the resistance, and now we have been selling. So again, probably not gonna touch Ethereum, or not Ethereum, sorry, Ripple. Let's see what we're on the 1 hour chart. Let's see what Cryptomoku has to say about this. Yeah, it looks like we should be above this cloud, but we're not. So it looks like we could be coming down to resistance, right? Resistance also looks like it's nearing the 200 MA for the 1 hour. Let's see what the 4 hour has to say about the Cryptomoku. Heavy resistance above it. Which is interesting because 2500 is definitely the heavy, well, I would say the heavy resistance, but that's the resistance line. But I'm sure if we look at that on like a 15-minute, so let's just go ahead and do that on a 15-minute. 2500 is probably the resistance. Just a little bit above it, it looks like. So yeah, looks like you know, looks like the sell signal was here, right? And I'm sure once people got close to it, they sold off. That's what they sold. Not for sure what the buy had to do with here. That's interesting. But yeah, looks like now looks like in this box we were getting, let me see here. So those became buy signals right there. Bought a little bit. It looks like it did hit the resistance and it dropped. So let's see what level we're looking at right there. 2475. That's what we're kind of looking at. I'll go ahead and throw that on there. 2475 as the most recent support. Even though I'm not for sure. Yeah, I guess you could call that support. It looks like there has been other candles that have kind of acted as if that is support. But again, this is what Ripple does. It just likes to create liquidity and take people out. So yeah, rising up, everybody thinks it's got it. Boom, you know. Especially if you think, well, actually, there's no, you know, this is the high, so everybody thinks it looks like it could be going up higher. It looks like it crossed the base, right, of that Ichimoku. So if it could have stayed up here and bought, that would have been interesting. But it looks like the sell signal was coming right after. So instead, there we go. We have the sell signal again, hits resistance, sell. And then as far out as we can see, we do not have any kind of buy signal. So looks like it's going to be rough trading this weekend as far as crypto is concerned. We don't really have any good setups, or at least none that I can see. I mean, unless you know, I guess that, you know, if we come down to this part, that might be a good time to pull the trigger, because it looks like that could be a good resistance point. And, you know, maybe by that point we might see the Ichimoku cloud turn to some kind of buy signal if it keeps selling off a little bit, going down this way, so that's what I could possibly see happening if anything does happen. It could sell off like down to here, and then once it gets to here we could see a buy. So maybe this might be the only time, or the only you know, around this area through here, I guess you could say, would be the buy area for Ripple, if you are going to buy Ripple. Long-term buy, I am not for sure. I don't think so, because I think, like I said, with the 4-hour, looks like we could be getting a buy signal soon, but as of right now, looks like we are not getting one long-term for Ripple. And again, I think that 2500 zone definitely has something to do with it. So I would think I would see some steady increases. If you're going to see anything, like I said, look for that short play off of this one support area, 2475, or that's where we're at right now. Looks like it would be more like somewhere around 2465, 2460, somewhere in that area. You might be able to catch a buy from there. But that's what I got for Ripple. Let's see what the 5-minute says. Ichimoku, we have no buy signal from the Ichimoku on the 5-minute chart as of yet as well. Even though it looks like it has been buying, but not much. Let's see what kind of pip action we got there. We got about 10 pips probably within the last half hour or so. So good stuff there from Ripple. All right, so some other ones that I trade. Like I said, I see all these things that I can trade on my Hugosway, and I wonder what I can trade with them. And Dash has just been selling like mad. As you can see, this is, I get alerts all the time to where it just it just crosses the right there. I'm that alert here, right, where if on the 5-minute, if it gets below the 30, it'll give me an alert. That way I can try to buy, but it's been selling so much that I don't even want to try to buy, because by the time I buy, I may get in some profit before I can even scalp like 5 cents or something like that before it sells off again. So instead, what I probably need to do is actually set an alert on the high end, right? That way, if it does ever get up somewhere, I can sell. So it looks like they did have a sell signal recently, right, on Dash. It actually came up above. Looks like the cloud swished. We did have a sell. Looks like it got below, and this is going to be interesting. I don't know. This looks like I'll just see. We have to check tomorrow, see if this is going to come together as another sell signal, which it looks like it could. Or if it remains up here, if it's going to stay a buy. So looks like the sell signal has already taken place, could be, and if you did catch it, looks like you scalped a good well, that's not possible. Or at least I don't know how to read this anyway. Probably 8 pips is what I'm gonna guess. Yeah, Let me see here, because it's just good. The way this works is by exactly how it is. So 71.4 to 72.9. Yeah, that'd have been yeah, about 8 pips or so. So Dash, let's take a look at Dash long term. Let me take off Cryptomoku and let's just take a look at it. It has been those ones that I thought was great, especially once it got down here. This is when I first started trying out my double RSI strategy. It was working out a lot on Dash, and and I kept saying, well, the reason is, probably it's working is because, most of the, the 200 MA was above it, all the other MAs were below it, and so anytime I would catch, a 5 minute, where the MA or the RSI would drop below, 30, I would catch a buy and it would go up. And I was doing this on Dash for a while, and especially it happened a lot through here. I was catching anytime it would drop, I would, get those alerts. I would put in a buy. I'd get a good scalp for 5-10 pips, and I would rinse and repeat, and it just kept happening throughout here. Caught one. Most of these I caught basically, so I was making quite a bit of money on that double RSI strategy. This is probably the time when I was developing it through here. A lot of it had to do with Dash, but ever since then, and ever since it's kind of crossed over this, looks like, what could have been, some trend line area that it could have continued up on. Looks like it just went straight through it, and ever since then it has just went down. And now my bias would be a selling bias. So with that being said, if I were to use my double RSI strategy, use the overbuy as an alert, right? Overbought somewhere around 70 as an alert. Once you get that and it gets really high and you get that alert, sell, and then that way you can continue going down and selling, right? So that's as far as the long-term outlook for Dash, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what the coin is to be used for, or what its implications are. But it looks like it could be maybe on a downward slope for a little bit, and we'll see what's going to happen. Litecoin, it's going nowhere. It's just been going sideways for quite some time. I really did, it did the same thing as everybody else. As whenever Bitcoin happened, it all jumped. It seems like everybody has like all their money tied in together to like all these. I don't know if there's like an index or something. I guess there might be, like an index, like an ETF, like how we have like SPY for the SPX. I don't know. I'm new to these things. I know there is a DeFi index. I do know that there is one out there, but I don't know if there's like like an ETF or something like that you can buy into it. Where it's like a conglomeration of all these coins, and if you just invest into it, you're also invested into all the different coins. I don't know. I'm still new to all of this stuff when it comes to crypto, and I just want to learn more. The only thing I know is that these are things that are on my Hugosway, as far as what I can trade, and so I like to take a look at them and see if I can trade them. So Litecoin, again, not much action. It's just in a boxed range. Let's just go from low to high and see what we got. It looks like what we got is probably a good 6 pips, maybe. maybe 60 if I'm reading that correctly. Let me get rid of all these and see what that price range is, since all these numbers are bogging me down here. So this would go from 45.14 to 51.29. So that would actually be 60 pips. So and that is this is a 4-hour time frame. It seems right now we are dwindling down. It looks like what it's doing to itself is like it's flagging again. I'm not a huge fan of patterns or anything like that, just because I really don't think the market really cares about patterns more than it does support resistance, more than it does liquidity. I definitely think liquidity is what the market cares about the most. So, but if we were to draw some kind of pattern, it would look like this. Like I said, it looks like it's putting itself into a corner. It could. That's the thing, is what you could expect from this, especially since I'm seeing more of an uptrend than a downtrend. Is that could expect this to break through, or retest and then continue buying. So if you were to if you were to think something like that was going to happen, and you're definitely a pessimist about or not a pessimist, an optimist, that's the word, about Litecoin, I would find the lowest place that you could find to buy and see if that happens, and hopefully you don't get caught with your stop loss. If you were to put a stop loss, you have quite a bit of pips to deal with. You can probably set it down below 45.85, depending on your account size and depending on your lot size. But if you're not playing with much and you just want to see if you can make a couple bucks, I would definitely use the whole area, to see if I can't come up out of this. But first, I would wait to see what kind of reaction you're going to get off of this, triangle here. Luckily, that's going to happen, before, by midday tomorrow. Before midday tomorrow. So let's check up on Litecoin tomorrow and see what kind of stuff that we're going to have. Zcash. Another one, I was also doing the same thing. So this one was also acting like Dash. So if we get rid of this and we get rid of this, and actually I kind of want to do a comparison. See, these two act very, very similar. And so as I was also doing my my double RSI strategy, I was doing it with Zcash along with Dash, and I was making a pretty notable amount of money just by having because I was catching them as a bullish bias going up this way. I was catching them as they were being oversold. I was putting in buys, so my double RSI strategy was working all the way up until the point to where it didn't work. And that's what happens with strategies. And that's what I said, as part of the strategy. Make sure you're selling on your you're buying with your trading bias. And my trading bias was a buy because of I saw that it was going up. Now that I see that the trading bias is
kind of a sell. We could be flattening out here. It looks like we do have some kind of support that's being formed or has been formed. So we could be flattening out, rounding out the bottom. When we see the RSI, seems like it has kind of hit a bottom here, and we could be picking up. So there's a possibility we could see Zcash start to turn around, and but then again, it looks like the closes have been a little bit lower than what they were previously whenever we got to these back around earlier in the week this week. Let's see what Cryptomoku has to say about the 4 hour. We're definitely underneath some heavy resistance. I don't see any buy signals. Let's head to the 1 hour. Same thing. We are under some heavy resistance. Don't see a buy signal. Let's get down to the 15-minute to see if there's any kind of scalping action that we can take control of. Looks like it definitely hit the resistance. And it looks like that sell signal worked. So it looks like they had a sell signal. Well, how far out is it? Let's do this thing again. Let's do where we see how far out. This Cryptomoku is. It's about 8 hours, right, on a 15-minute. So looks like whenever this sell signal, well, this is the buy signal here. So this is the sell signal. It was probably right around here. So actually these signals looks like they didn't work at all, because this would have been the sell signal. Well, I guess it probably would have worked when it was right above it, of course, and especially with the the fast line being above the slow line. That was definitely well, that's actually more of a buy signal right there. And those two didn't cross, so these signals actually are not making sense at all with Zcash on the 15-minute. So here is your sell signal here, your short sell signal anyway. Not your Ichimoku sell signal, but your moving average sell signal. That definitely happened. Come up, and looks like we are trending upwards right now. As far as Zcash is concerned, again, we're in a Ichimoku cloud, though. We're hitting resistance. Currently hitting resistance with this candle right here. So yep, just bounced back from that resistance. So if we do a 5-minute, let's see if there's really any kind of scalping action. This one says that we are above, and it looks like soon we probably could be seeing a sell signal happen from this Ichimoku cloud, because it looks like let's see how far out this one goes as far as minutes are concerned. Again, about a 2.5 hour window is what you got. Looks like this one was already at a buy whenever those 2.5 hours were happening. Whenever it just came close to it, looks like people just bought. Came down, touched the resistance, and moved on. So this Cryptomoku definitely looks like it could be helping people out that would be using this. But as far as Zcash is concerned, another one I may not be trading unless I see a sell signal come out of this Cryptomochi cloud. Otherwise, I might wait for a pullback and see if it does hit a resistance point, or sorry, support area, and then I might buy from there. Just because it does look like we are starting to finally have a bullish trend again. So we are on the 5-minute. I'll go ahead and add myself an alert for that as well. Now, some of these other ones, actually one that I have looked at that is interested in me very, very much has been this Neo coin. And the reason it's interested in me a lot is because if we take a look at the 4-hour chart, this thing has actually gone through the roof recently. As far as back as June, this thing was no more than $10 for the coin. Now it's $24 for the coin. So this thing has doubled in price within the last couple of months. So this is a coin I definitely want to watch. It could be something that could be long term. It didn't have the same effect that all the rest of the coins had. This is back in February, so this is the COVID time. So when everything else jumped up really high and fell, I guess this was probably about it. And I guess it fell too, but when it fell right back to where it was. Before it jumped up really high. So anybody who bought here, whenever it fell back, especially if they were still holding, it didn't lose anything, and they just continued growing. So this Neo coin, I am definitely going to continue watching this. I'm going to be looking for dips, and I'm definitely going to be buying dips. Because the way this trend is happening, it's a very, very heavy and steep trend. I haven't seen any other coin that has had any kind of trend like this. Here's another one that I've been seeing around called IDO. Here is the 4-hour chart of it again, and also had that same kind of behavior to where it's bought really big and then sold off, and then now it's looking like it's you could be back on the uptrend, but it could not be. So there's all these different kind of coins that are just really, really interesting. Here's another one, sentiment versus the dollar. Also a very cheap coin. That you can probably put a lot of money into, and hopefully in a couple of years it's grown to $6,000 a coin or something like that. But if you're trying to trade it right now, within the 4-hour, it looks like it kind of had that similar behavior that everybody else had, except for it looks like it was actually, never mind. It looks like this coin was worth quite It looks like it did have a good top off at about $1.26. It's about as high as it got, and then it decided to have a free fall, and that has been from July to August. Interesting. So it wasn't the end of August. Well, yeah, it looks like it is the end of August. So end of August looks like just since July, this thing has just completely came out of nowhere, did some good, and then it just dropped. It looks like it was like the next coin of the future, and then it just fell. And I think maybe I had something to do with that. People probably were stuffing a lot of money into this, thinking it was the coin of the future, and then Yearn came out and then changed all that. So anyways, I think I've talked enough about crypto tonight. I probably won't be going back and doing any kind of studying about what these coins are used for or anything like that. But at least you do know that there are these type of coins out there, and if you do have Hugosway, that you can trade them. Again, the tool called Cryptomochu. If you have a chance, get it, check it out. You can set your own parameters if you want. And again, if you like my stuff, if you like what I do, if you like hearing me ramble for an hour and a half, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hopefully very soon I probably won't be rambling for another hour and a half or more. I'll just be doing some very short videos, hopefully 10-15 minutes, something that somebody can watch and go on about their day. That's why Quibi was invented, right? People don't have time to sit here and watch people talk for an hour and a half, even though I'm doing it. But I just like to journey what I do. So again, thanks again for watching all about my crypto session. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And as always, remember to just to keep wearing your pants.